Hello and welcome. Today we want to do something a little special. Actually, there are two things which are special about this flight. So first of all, you see the new IniBuilds A320neo V2 in front of us, and I actually never have flown this airplane. I have plenty of experience with the CEO, so the Phoenix A320, but I have actually no experience with the IniBuilds A320 and also very little with the Neo, so that will be a first. And the second thing which will be special about this flight is that it will be a very short hop, but we will do one of the, I guess, most famous approaches in the world. So I don't know whether you all recognized it, but we are standing here in on Porto Santo. Porto Santo is an island a couple of kilometers away from Madeira, and Madeira, with its approach into Funchal, is one of the most well-known difficult approaches in the world. And actually you can see Madeira back there in the distance. And what we are assuming today is that we will do a positioning flight. So let's assume yesterday the weather was really bad at Madeira. We couldn't land there, so we diverted to Porto Santo. And today we will take our airplane to Madeira, and we will also take our passengers from yesterday with us. So we are fully booked, but the flight will be extremely short. SimBrief tells us that we will be in the air for 17 minutes or so. And I think we have something like 148 passengers. Okay, so let's go into the cockpit and start our flight preparation. So we are in the cockpit. As you can see, the cockpit is cold and dark, and as you could see on the outside view, we already started with the ground services. Doors are open and the cargo can be loaded. Just for completeness, I switched the IRS alignment and I will also switch the boarding time to very short time, just because I don't want to bore you, but more importantly, I don't want to bore myself. So let's begin waking up this airplane. So first of all, let's do a quick check that everything is secure. So the thrust levels are at idle, the engine master switches are off, flap lever are 0, and the speed brake handle is in the retracted position. Gear lever is down, so the aircraft is secure. First thing, let's check the battery voltages, 28.4 and 28.3, so that's very fine. So we switch on the battery 1 and battery 2. Cockpit is powering up, and we can directly switch on the external power, so we have no problem with draining batteries. Okay, so let's do a quick preparation here. First, emergency exit lights go to arm, no smoking auto, seat belts to on, nav and logo lights to 1, strobes to auto. We activate the oxygen for the crew, activate the ground control for our flight data recorder, so this means the flight data recorder is recording while we are on the ground. And we can do a quick APU fire test. That works. Let's do the engine 1 fire test. That works. And engine 2 fire test. So that's all good. And then we can start with the alignment of the ADRS system. So 1 to nav, system 2 to nav, and system 3 to nav. On but light extinguished, that's how we want it. And since we can already start the APU. So APU master turn, looking for the indication for the APU. and start selected to on. Okay, so let's go to the tablet and we will initiate the loading. I already loaded the settings for the passengers from SimBrief, so I will do a fast loading, and as you can see, hopefully somewhere our takeoff weight will be something like 60 tons or so. So we will be very light. Okay, let's go and start setting up the MCDU. One thing I already find is that I don't like the viewports, so I guess that is something I need to fix. I need to set up my SimBrief pilot ID, so let me check. Sorry for the my SimBrief pilot. Okay. So, okay. We have the pilot ID in, so what we can do now is to send an init request, and it loaded our flight plan, so from Porto Santo to Madeira. Our flight number will be 1 Bravo Sierra, so top 1 Bravo Sierra, and let's do the IRS initialization. Interesting that this is not working. Maybe I missed something. Wind, let's do a wind request. IRS init. Okay, now it seems to be initializing. Interesting. Okay, let's continue. We need our cost index, so let's check our OFP. We will take a cost index of 23, and we can already enter our block fuel, which we also find on our OFB. Block fuel will be 3.7 tons. So 3.7 tons, 0 fuel weight, and 0 fuel weight center of gravity we will enter after loading is completed. So let's go to the flight plan. In Porto Santo today we will depart from runway 36 and we will fly the Pilin 1 November departure, which we can see on the nav display here. It's quite a simple standard instrument departure route, just ahead until 3000, to the left to Papa Sierra 707, and then to the left to Pilin. At our destination we will land on runway 23, and today we will fly an RNAV approach onto runway 23. Let me find the correct RNAV A23 and no star, no transition. Let's see whether this is the right. No, why don't you like that? Arrival RNAV 23 insert. So let's see when we look at our plan display. That is the correct one. So we start at Pilin, then to waypoint Mike Alpha 408 and directly into the runway 23 of Madeira. The missed approach is a left turn to MA47, MO46, and then to Monac, and there we do a holding, which is here set up as a left-hand holding, which is correct. Perfect. So that's our routing. Then we can continue. Let's set up our RadNav page. We will use the Porto Santo VOR SNT on VOR1, and I think that is actually it for our RadNav page. Let's go to our performance page, and for that we need to do our performance calculation. So let's see, I think the loading is completed, so we have a zero fuel weight of 57 tons and our center of gravity is 23.7. so let's put that into the init page. 57 and 23.1. Let's cross-check that. Zero fuel weight 57 tons and zero fuel weight center of gravity 23.7. And that is also the setting we later need to set our pitch trim setting to. Okay, then let's do our takeoff calculation. We will take off at runway 36. We have a takeoff run available of 3,100 meters. Let me cross-check that with the chart. That is correct. I will remove 1 meter because that is how it is set in the on the chart. So we have a takeoff run available of 3,000 meters. Surface is dry. We have a headwind, but we will not calculate with a headwind. We will just set the wind to 0, so we give us a little bit more margin. Outside temperature, we also increase that by 1 degree just to give us a little bit more margin, and the same for the altimeter, so we reduce the altimeter setting by 1 so we can be sure that we have enough room. We will have a takeoff weight of 60.5 tons. We will do a config 1 plus F. Takeoff air conditioning will be on, anti-icing not needed, and we will not force toga. And so let's do a calculation. So flex temperature is 58. We want 144, 144, 146, and it seems we have plenty of runway left, so that looks very good. So I will set that into our MCDU. 144, 144, 146. Transitional is 5,000, that is fine. Takeoff shift, we don't have a takeoff shift. Takeoff flaps is 1. Flex takeoff temperature 58. And engine out acceleration is 1,290 feet. So let's set our altimeter to QNH 1017. And I think with that we are done. Set the RadNav. Let's copy the flight plan, just if we need to go back to Porto Santo. And then also let's put the runway 23, sorry, not runway 23, but runway 36 into the progress page. Okay, very nice. I think that we are ready. Let's switch on the APU bleed air, close up the cabin, And we need to, I forgot to set our cruise. It's set for level 60, and that will be our first cleared altitude, so I set that into the window. And with that we can switch off the external power, we can switch on the beacon light and switch on the fuel pumps. Rudder trim is centered. Can set a transponder code 1, 2, 3, 4, and we will switch the transponder to auto and TA array and all. A little bit early, but I think that's fine. Okay. So let's check. All the doors are closed. We checked the status of the aircraft. We inserted our flight plan. Did a performance calculation for takeoff. So I think we are ready. Let's do some checklists. And we will start with the cockpit preparation checklist. Gear pins and covers removed. Fuel quantity is 3,700 kilograms, or 3,680 to be more precise. Seat belts are on. ADIR's nav. Barref is 1017, both sides, and on the standby instrument. Then we can continue with the before start checklist. So, before start checklist, parking brake is set. Takeoff speed and thrust. Takeoff speeds are 144, 144, 1546 and flex 58. Windows are closed. Beacon is on. Then is the before start checklist completed. So we can let's see whether we can use GSX for a pushback here. I'm not quite sure, but we can first disable or remove the stairs. Perfect. And then we can check whether we can prepare for pushback. Small accident here. So we need to turn our nose to the right and our tail to the left. Okay, so we start our overall timer because we are off blocks, and pushback looks Well, we will see if it looks good. Okay, so engine to start. Starter valve is open. You see N2 rising. N1 is rising. Fuel is introduced into the engine. And EGT is rising. And engine 2 is stabilized. Engine 1 start. N2 is rising, N1 is rising. We have full fuel flow and light off. Pushback vehicle is moving away. And engine 1 is available, so we have a good engine start. Selected to normal, ground spoilers to arm, flaps 1 plus F. And we will wait until we get a hand signal. There is the hand signal, so we will do our after start checklist now. NDIs is off. ECAM status is checked. Rudder trim is 0 and we need to set the pitch trim. To something like here, so on the outer scale 23 something. Give me a second, I think that's wrong. Sorry, I need to check for the takeoff center of gravity, which is so the gross weight center is 30%, so actually we just don't need almost no trim at all. Okay, so after start checklist is completed, let's do the flight control check. So full down, full up, neutral, full left, full right, and neutral. Now for the rudder, full left, full right, and neutral. So flight controls is checked. Then we can call the cabin, switch on the runway turn-off light and the taxi light. And we can switch off the APU while we are at it. can switch on the predictive wind shear system, and with that we are ready. Parking brake off. Off the brakes. Aircraft is starting to taxi in to roll immediately because we are very light. So brake check. Okay, brake and pressure is 0, so we can do the maximum takeoff. So the auto brakes to max. Takeoff config all green. That's nice. So we can already quickly do the taxi checklist. Flight console are checked. Flap setting 1+F. Radar and predictive wind shear is on and auto. Engine mode selector is normal. And the econ memo is takeoff and no blue. So we will now taxi here to the right. Then we will backtrack on runway 36. Turn around and we can take off. Taxi feels very nice with this airplane. The airport is bumpy. I'm not sure whether that is correct or not, but whatever. Approach path is clear of traffic. We will switch on the nose taxi light and the landing lights, and the strobes go to on. I will need to give a little bit more thrust here. Seems to be a little bit of an uphill. Taxi feels really nice, really nice. Not sure whether that is the new ground model of Sim Update 15 or what, but it just feels really nice. Okay, let's do the lineup checklist. Takeoff runway is confirmed 36. TCAS is TARA, or TA only, and PACs are on. And with that, we are almost ready. We are now turning to the left here. This is one of the nicest backtrack pads or backtrack situations I've seen. I guess that's also nice for the air traffic controllers, so they can park airplanes here if they have an approach coming. Okay. So before we line up, then taxi lights. The landing lights go to off now because we are off the active runway. Let's do a quick or final check. We will take off from runway 36 and our departure route is just straight ahead 3000 left to PS 707 and then to Pilim. Cool. So then I think we can go ahead. 36 is identified. The texting is really nice. I'm almost a little bit suspicious if I'm not just... if it's not just a confirmation bias. Okay, whatever. So, we are ready. Throttles to 50. Engines are spooling up symmetrically. Starting the clock. There is something wrong here. Okay, so there was something wrong with his throttles. Mantoga, if there is all thrust blue. 100 knots. V1 rotate. Positive climb. Gear up. Nav. First climb. And flaps up. Speed checked, flaps up. And autopilot 1 on. Look into the EFB. Strange that the Flex MCT didn't work. Should have worked. Okay. Alt star, and we cross 5,000 feet, so QNH standard. Passing 5.3 now. Cross checked. And we are on our way. So let's see, in our flight plan we have the destination, estimated fuel on board 3 tons. Interesting. Not sure what this means, to be honest. So let's clear Radnav. And we will enter the destination data. First, QNH in Madeira is 1070. 1017. Temperature 21 and 1010. So 21 degrees, and the wind is 10 knots from 10 degrees. Transition altitude will be, we can do 6,000, 128, and we will have a minimum in Madeira of 490 feet. So we will make that 500. Landing config will be config full. And I think that's that. We are already inbound Pilim. On the right there is Madeira. So funny enough, we can already start our descent in a couple of minutes. So our altitude, our approach altitude will be 2,000 feet, so I will select 2,000 feet. And let's see whether we can do a landing performance calculation. No, there is no option for that if I'm not wrong. So in case of doubt, let's do a medium auto brake landing. Our flaps full. We talked about that already. Ground spoilers are armed. I will rearm them. And then let's do our approach checklist. Or we wait until we cross our top of descent. I decided that will be now. So our Barrow Ref 1017 and set. Seatbelts are on. Minimum 500 feet. Set. Auto brake medium. And our engine mode selector is normal. I will now already activate the approach. Sorry, I am using the view commands. Cabin pressure, low differential. Interesting. So first I will activate the approach phase. Next I will speed will reduce to green dot speed. So at Pilim we should have 3,000 feet. We're a little high, so I will extend the flaps now to 1. So speed check, flaps 1. And speed check, flaps 2. And we can arm the approach mode. Activate the second autopilot. So final up, autopilot 1 and 2. And we are on our glide path. And the airport is already straight ahead, so gear down. Flaps 3. Flap 3 and flaps 4, speed checked, flaps full. Well, let's do our checklist. Approach, we already did the approach landing checklist. So go around altitude is 3,000, set into the window. cabin crew advised. Ecam memo. We'll check in a second. The runway is up ahead.
2,500.
Wind is coming actually straight from the right. It's 10 knots, so that will be an interesting landing. So at MA 408, which we cross now, we should have 2,000 feet, which we do. So that looks really good. Now we can see the first details of Madeira. So for example, the wind turbines here, I think they are real. So I have been visiting Madeira 2 times before, and I think there were wind turbines on this patch of the island. A great hike actually you can do. So, cabin. Okay, landing and no blue, so we are fully ready for the landing. I will now switch to manual flight. So autopilot off, manual flight. Feels very, very stable. Checked. We are on center line, on speed, and on our vertical path. The wind is now changing a little bit to the rear. Interesting. So small micro, I don't know, wind shear, so we will land with a little bit of tailwind. I'm not sure whether my Silbrief didn't continue and didn't incorporate that, but that's fine. I didn't check, so all good. So looking really good. A little bit low now, maybe.
200, 100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
Touchdown. Decel, spoilers, and we don't need reversers here. Manual braking. And welcome to Madeira. Now we will brake a little bit harder to take the exit to the left here. Switch on the APU. And let's do a quick cleanup of the aircraft after we cross the stop bar here. Landing lights off. Taxi light on. And spoilers. And predictive wind shear system off. So let's do the checklist. After landing, radar and predictive wind shear system off. Okay, let's find us a parking spot. Maybe we can already take a... let me quickly check the chart. Maybe we can take a 5 there next to the Alinea. So this is this one. Let me quickly bring up a little bit too far, but that's all. It's nothing we can correct here. Switch off the taxi lights to not blind the marshallers, and okay, that's an interesting marshaller standing up on the roof there, but well, I mean, we can see him, so, or her, so all good. We should go a little bit to the left. Okay, I didn't. I hadn't that before. I didn't encounter that before. Okay, so we will set the parking brakes. We will need. Normally, we would need to wait for a minute or so to cool down the engines, but we will ignore this now. So. APU is available, so engine 1 off and engine 2 off. Transponder to standby. So engines are off, fuel flow is off, so we can switch off the beacon light. And I think we can request our deboarding. So the doors are opening and we can also request our catering service. Perfect. Okay. Let's do the parking checklist. Parking checklist, park brake watch shocks. So the parking brakes are set, but we can also activate the shocks. So we can switch off the parking brake. Engines are off. The wing lights are off. Fuel pumps. Oh, I forgot the fuel pumps. So fuel pumps are off. And that is the parking checklist completed. So let's switch on the GPU and get some external power here into the aircraft, and with that we can switch off the APU and deactivate the seatbelts. We will secure the aircraft, so nav and logo lights off, no smoking off. Emergency exit lights off, crew supply off, and ADIRS 1, 2 and 3 off. I think our block time is something like 28 minutes or so, a little bit longer than expected, but I guess that is all fine. Let's switch off the external power and also the batteries. And then we can do the securing the aircraft checklist. So oxygen is off, emergency exit lights are off, EFBs are off, batteries are off. And with that, our flight, we concluded our flight. Okay, let's quickly summarize our findings and impressions which we gained during the flight. First, all in all, this is a really, really good A320neo. It allows for complete and well-rounded normal operations, which is a big, big plus. It has great ground handling, something I didn't expect, that I enjoyed that so much. A well-executed EFB tablet, the sounds are very nice, and also the cockpit modeling and the modeling overall is very nice. There were some strange MCDU FMGS behaviors, for example the not working align on rev, the lateral deviation was not shown in our RNAV approach, and also the MCDU font looks kind of off to me. The throttle detents were not recognized, not sure whether it was a mistake on my side, and there is no landing performance calculator actually, which I dearly miss, to be honest. And also the predefined views are not that good. But all in all, it's just a great add-on. Just install it, go fly, and enjoy it. I hope you enjoyed this flight. Let me know how you like the IniBuilds A320neo in the comments below. Have a great day, and I will see you soon.